Now, this is an inaugural panel discussion which is going to talk about the power of data in crafting winning digital campaigns, and who doesn't want to do that, isn't it? And we have some really stellar panelists who are joining us for this session, heads of their respective companies. I'm sure you want to hear from them. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are noting down the key insights that you're taking away from the sessions here, then don't forget to share it with the world outside this room digitally, maybe on LinkedIn, Twitter, whichever is your preferred platform. But don't forget to tag us, which is AFAX, and you can also use the hashtag AFAXDigis2025. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, this panel discussion is going to talk about power of data in crafting winning digital campaigns, and we are extremely proud and privileged to have with us these stellar panelists joining us for the session. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abhishek Agarwal, Head of Marketing and Martech at Mahindra First Choice Wheels. We can do better with our applause, can we not? Yes? A very warm welcome to you. Joining us on the panel is Payal Mehra, Brand Manager, Matches and Agarbatti at ITC. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a warm welcome. Welcome, Payal. Joining them on the panel, we have with us Jitin Agarwal, Chief Marketing Officer at Heritage India. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome. Come on! I know you have those two hands. Put them together. Alright. Our next panelist, welcoming Mr. Ashok Shinde, Vice President of Media and Strategy at Pivot Roots. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him. Joining us, Saurabh Khanna, Vice President, Agency Partnerships and Large Client Solutions at Audience Pro. Everybody at the back, put your phones down and make some noise. And moderating the session is once again Ms. Vanita Susmita Biswas, our Executive Editor at AFAX. Welcome back, Susmita. And I leave the stage over to you.
Panel to follow the IPL one, because now we know that how much measurement matters. We don't have to establish any of that anymore, given that the IPL folks are collaborating with Nielsen to help marketers make sense of their money, right? But let's talk a little about data in any case. And I wanted to mention one thing, and I'm sure all of you have noticed this too. The last few years, whenever Mondelez comes out with an ad campaign for any of its products, 5-star, Captain Silk, whatever it might be, it is accompanied with one microsite which asks you for your phone number and email ID. And that goes to show how important it is for an FMCG brand to collect first-party data. I watch those ads and then I'm like, oh, so this time they are cancelling Valentine's Day. How are they doing it? You go to the website and then you see, okay, phone number, email ID. Right? So that kind of establishes for all of us saying it's not just your D2C brands that are selling on Instagram or brands that use WhatsApp to connect with consumers that want that first-party data, but it is that 10 rupee Cadbury that is possibly an impulse buy, that brand is also collecting first-party data. So the power of data is undisputed in some sense, right? So given that so much about this brand Cadbury and how it uses data, we don't know how they finally process it and what they do, but we have with us this esteemed panel where we have three people representing brands who can first start with telling us how you in specific use data in an innovative way, a counterintuitive way, something that came to you saying, hey, this is something that people have not done in my category, or this is something special to me. And Abhishek, if I can start with you, in the card sales thing, I'm guessing data is a no-brainer for a category like yours. But how do you use it? Anything interesting that you have learned?
Yeah, so we are in the business of used cars, brand manufacturers, it's been 20 years. We are a typical, we used to be a typical brick and mortar brand where we used to have 7 8 showrooms, and with the evolution of consumer preferences, we have evolved to become a digital brand. And hence we had this CarNet.com, which became part of our group. That's become a digital first brand. And we use the data from CarNet to sort of power the Mahindra first used cars. So I think the way we see data is, and our category has a very specific problem that used car in itself does not become searchable. You see the category, it is not 1 million searchable. But number of cars being sold every year is, just used cars is about 5 million. So definitely it's not that people are not searching, but they are not starting the search journey with a used car keyword. So that was the insight which we got when we started mapping our customer journey, and we started doing interviews, we started looking at data and insights. And we said the journey is not necessarily starting with a search, like a second-hand car in Mumbai or a used car in Mumbai. It's a much broader search that the consumers largely. It could be as broad as, Hyundai Extra or on-road price of a new car, right? And from there the journey starts to, evolving between the consumer's preference is whether a used car, a new car, a premium used car versus a mid-tier new car. So a consumer journey is not very linear, especially for our category. The consumer this is the second biggest purchase in their life. They buy a house and then they buy a car. So it's a long decision process. And once they decide, hey, maybe I've got a financial place, I need, a loan source, then it's still a 45-day sales cycle. So we have to be very methodological in the way we segment our consumer, saying he started from a new car mindset. This guy is upgrading from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler. This consumer is completely getting into a vehicle category to first time. So it's about segregating the data right from the booking and to collecting the lead, because this is not a category where you directly go to a showroom, you want to place an appointment, you go to then explore a few cars because you have a certain budget in mind, you have a certain utility in mind, which is for the family, which is for the office purpose, which is for my university. So you have a certain utility in mind, and then you shortlist a few cars and then you segregate, say that, hey, this is my budget, 7 to 10. Then you say, hey, this is what suits my bill, in terms of mileage, in terms of power. And then we have to constantly evolve our entire algorithm. Again, search going there, all our websites, every consumer, every time they come in, the first time, the second time, the third time. And then the interactions are zillions of times because it's a high value purchase. You start with the website, you go to the app, then you go to the call center, then you go back to the chatbot, and then you go back to the call, you go to the showroom, you negotiate again. So it's at least 10 to 18 touch points for every consumer before they make the buy decision. And every time you have to sort of either be present hyper-locally, because these are customers who prefer to still buy a car near them, and interacting with consumers across India, adjacent cities, Hindi, South UC, so national language. So the journey necessarily starts with English, but doesn't end with English, and then it goes with this entire journey of segmenting customers and using the language and platforms.
There's so many variables out there that you're speaking about. And Parag, what about you? I'm guessing the consumer journey for someone buying Agarbatti is very different. Is your use of data very much like how I am unable to comprehend why Cadbury is collecting my phone number and email ID?
Because when we think of data, first party data is the go-to topic that pops up in everybody's head, right? And like you said, that even I'm associated with a category which is very much known to be rooted in traditions, right? So here the consumer's aversion to sharing data is even higher. So from the get-go, what we have done is we have realized that our primary objective whenever it comes to talking to our consumers and collecting data is going to be to have a very strong value exchange. that can convince them that okay, if you are coming to my platform and if you are interacting with my content and if you are sharing your data, there is something significant of value that you are getting in exchange. So what we do is, because of the category construct, festivals are very important for us, right? Be it Holi, Diwali, you get these WhatsApp forwards wishing you. You see people suddenly starting to search about how to do a puja. Because in today's environment, when people are moving here and there, they're not living with their families, they don't know what to do. But they still want to do a little something when there's a special day. So what we have done is, we have created a chatbot. It's called Magadi Sati. Magadi is our master plan. And we activated only exclusively during top festivals, because that's when its relevance is the most. And there we have a seamless journey which is driven through consumer insighting. We understood what are the kind of content buckets people are interested in. And we have created a step-by-step journey where we let people choose the kind of content they'd be interested in. We share it with them in a format in which they can store it, they can share it ahead. And at the end, we request them that if you would like more such content, would you want to share this data with us? So it's completely voluntary. And over the years, this exercise has worked so well for us that now we have a healthy bank of first-party data. And to not just be complacent with it, we keep interacting with the same users again and again to enrich it, to know more about it. So that when it comes to the stage where we have to push a product or we have to recommend it, we are surely short of the lead that we are talking to. And the rates of conversion are much higher than the other cohorts that we have reached out to on other platforms. So it's like a one-on-one conversation that we have. And that too when the consumers themselves are pretty interested in having that conversation at the right time.
Jitin, how is it for you? Do you rely a lot on first-party data, third-party data? Is there a marriage of the two? What do you?
Let's understand the perspective of the industry. Now, when I talk about furniture fitting, electro hardware, or building and category, let's understand it's primarily a B2B driven industry. But take, for example, right in the beginning, from time we started operating in India, we've taken a very kind of divergent approach. We decided that we're going to kind of target the end consumer way. So apart from your B2B marketing, there's also a lot of B2C marketing that we do. Which basically entails that yes, we have a lot of hard consumer marketing that we do as far as the digital journey talks about. Also, let me tell you that we have been a laggard as far as the digital journey is concerned, because I believe overall the category itself has been a laggard, and then the company itself has started its digital journey pretty late. But having started our digital journey, we were very clear, that we need to get at the forefront of this entire. So, right from first-party data, we have collected a lot of consumer data from our website, and also we have a lot of categorization. We also have a B2C and a B2B customer who's visiting your site. So you have a categorizer, is an architect, designer, is a carpenter, is an consumer. So, obviously you have a kind of segregation out there, and then you have a lot of tailor-made kind of personalized kind of communication which you kind of push to that guy, whether it's email, whether it's WhatsApp, so you use that kind of data. Apart from that, recently we had a kind of complete global positioning change, where we launched a complete 360 campaign, and we created a microsite, where we kind of collecting first-party data, in terms of consumer visiting the site, having a kind of understanding of what we are offering, and we were providing them design service, which also kind of was a kind of incentive for the consumer to leave this data out there. So from that point of view, that's something that we do. Apart from this, we've got a lot of databases. We also have a lot of experience centers, which also becomes a good source of data collection for us. And apart from that, there are a lot of IT programs that we run, which again becomes a good source. All this data, what we do, we use it for lookalike audience, custom audiences, and we then push out a lot of content to this kind of thing. So, all in all, I would say, we are kind of evolving as far as the data journey is concerned. It's still not there, but the intent is obviously very strong, right? So, right now we're working on an AI-powered chatbot, which will ensure that whatever the consumer asks for, whatever the B2B customer asks for, he gets the data right as we get it. So it's a kind of digital revolution that we are in the process right now.
So what I want to talk to you, and what a confession from Jitin that his company is a laggard in the space of data and all that. But what is it that you observe, especially among legacy brands that are not maybe digital natives? How open are they to using data and data inclusion in their marketing campaigns, legacy brands in particular?
So I'll give you an overview of Audience Pro. So Audience Pro basically it's a consumer intelligence and marketing acquisition platform. It's a platform which fetches audiences in real time and gives them access to the marketers who have a precise targeting, be it for branding campaigns or performance campaigns that drive various KPIs. It also looks into the safety and the privacy factors also on the platform that once the campaign is over, it purges the segments as well, right? So it's a zero storage CDP, there's no data stored on the platform. Coming back to, I've heard on the FPD side, I've heard about the legacy brands. So there are three categories of brands which work with us. One is a legacy brand, one is a traditional brand, and the other one is an evolved D2C brand, right? So I would categorize legacy and traditional in a similar manner. Like the ones who are new to data, like for example, there is Medimix, there is Raymond, there is Bajaj Consumer. These are all traditional heavy brands, right? Not so much into digital, not so much into data. What we've done is we've got them on board. We've given the flavor of data, and there they've experienced this campaign efficiencies uplift of around 25-30%. Okay, so they got the taste of it. Now what we are seeing is these brands are actually getting involved on the data space as well. Not only on the digital front, but on the data space. Let's say for example, a Bajaj consumer would come down to me and say, okay, I'm up for these relevant segments, but I would also look at unduplicated reach between Google and a Meta. Let's say you are spending 10 lakhs on a media plan, but you are getting a duplicate audience between a YouTube and a Meta. So our tech platform helps you sort that as well. Okay, so all the traditional focused brands are getting evolved day by day, and they are not only taking relevant data from us for relevant target, but also looking at solving the different KPIs. The KPIs could vary from an unduplicated reach between a Meta and a Google. It could also be incremental reach over TV, or it could be a very simple FPD collection which they would have done over a period from offline sources or maybe online sources and get it plugged into Audience Pro to get some consumer insighting of it. Okay, then slicing and dicing it further with Audience Pro segments. So all these aspects of data journey is something which we work with the traditional clients. With the evolved clients, it's a different mechanism. They work towards the performance game. So Audience Pro also helps them optimize these campaigns better. They've seen uplifts in their KPIs as well, right from a click to an add to cart to an average order value. So that's the journey from a traditional to a D2C client, how they work very closely with us.
Oh, got it. Ashok, my question to you is, you've heard all of this week and you work with several brands. As the market is evolving and relying on data for marketing campaigns is a given for any brand today. How are therefore the KPIs also changing? Has there been any significant shift in what is it that brands need to measure today?
I think that spoke about how different kind of businesses are now looking at digital as an avenue to reach out to their customers. So we are seeing digital being used for brand marketing narrative also very strongly. I think the earlier panels spoke about 600 million reach, 900 million reach that digital can do. That's almost like unparalleled in most of the media that can be achieved for. So hence, a lot of the KPIs for digital, depending on for what purpose a brand is investing on digital, is also becoming about measurement of how well is the mind measures for the end customers is moving. Is the brand awareness going up, brand consideration, purchase intent going up. Yeah. But also, given digitally inherent has been data first and its measurable platform, it also comes with not a package but also a responsibility of being able to help businesses achieve business goals. Yeah. So there's always going to be focus or orientation from the boardroom, from the marketers. They would want to understand what ROI are we able to deliver. what kind of maybe let's say this about revenue growth being able to put on the table for it. Have I been able to win market share after doing this large digital campaign for it? So those all are becoming part of conversation, and the measurement is as we go along for it. And I think digital really gives that lens because you have so much measurability and able to reach out to audiences in a very targeted manner, which Panel spoke about. So those are some of the trends that we do see for it.
Abhishek, I want to come back to you. We're now talking about measurement, and I want to understand from you. There are so many tools that are there now to measure the success of your campaign. What do you feel today is, I completely get that I need to rely on data, and data is doing some things for me. Like you gave us the example of, research doesn't necessarily start with, I'm looking for a second-hand car. So there are things where data is already helping you. What more would you want from a measurement standpoint to unlock, that, exponential power of data in some sense?
I think all the brands are still dealing with the attribution part. I think while there is so much of data, and while there are so many more revenues which are coming there in the market, I think the challenge of attribution still exists. Of course, there are many models where you have the last week attribution, where you have you can attribute equally to multiple platforms. But I think still, as marketers, we struggle to give the right attribution to the right mediums, and we still play that juggling game quarter on quarter to evaluate various platforms. And apart from that, I think integration is also very important. While there are raw data, there are CDP, there are so many platforms, I think integrating all the data and the marketing efficiencies across platforms and then activating the right time to the right consumer, I think that still remains a challenge, and I think there are a lot more efficiency possible.
Still, would you agree with Abhishek here?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, what happens is that with legacy brands, because the stage at which a legacy brand would be in their digital journey would be very different. And depending upon that, the understanding up to which the data can support the attribution is also very different. So, unlike ATL, where we say that, okay, we are going to do this pamphlet, we are going to do these many ads, these many GRPs, and it's going to eventually help us recover our market share. There, that strategy is enough. But when it comes to digital, because the efficiencies are there to sharp target your consumer, to exactly select the placement and the time of the day when you're going to show your ad, the efficiency and attribution is also equally, equally and much needed, which right now is something that I think as a group we are working towards. At Mangadeep also we have tried to identify certain processes that can get as close to the actual impact when we run campaign, but still there's a long way to go. I do not say that we're already 100% there, it would be like 40% or 50%.
Do you think, given that you said that it's something that's evolving, your data project, if I may call it so, is still evolving in some sense. You're doing multiple things, and both of you, I think Payal and you said you need to give that value to a consumer for them to share data with you. Going forward, what do you think, and with consumers becoming so much more aware about data privacy and how much I'm giving away of myself and things like that, do you expect that collecting that first party data itself is going to become more and more of a challenge, and it's going to be all, third party data in some sense? If you can give me a sense of what you're thinking on this.
Yeah, so you actually look at the evolution. India is still lagging behind the European nations in that GDP. So obviously there are data gaps. The laws which are coming. I just still believe Indians are still not very well sharing their data. They still share it. And obviously there is an incentive involved. Saying that, for example, you share the data, you get this. They don't mind sharing the data, right? So right now I am not seeing that as a problem, because from whatever we experience, people readily share the data. Yeah, but yes, as people become more and more involved, as people become more and more informed about what's happening around, how the data probably can get misused. When your data is getting sold to people, you get a lot of this spam calls that people get. So I think people are, for a matter of fact, becoming a little bit more kind of reserved in terms of sharing the data. But I still believe we are at a level right now where data collection is not a problem, as far as media is concerned. But going forward, I think it might become a challenge. But for us, obviously as marketers, we are always on the lookout in terms of what are the various sources from where we can kind of accumulate the data. So that's something which is always come. Whether it's a third party data, whether it's a first party data, till the time loss really, kind of bind us. I think right now it's not that much of a challenge, if you really ask me.
Good. So I can bring you in. You heard the marketers, their concerns with measurement. They still find that attribution is lacking in some sense. So what is your, do you disagree with them and say that possibly a product like yours can give everything that a marketer needs, or what is it that you are then working towards, that holy grail that marketers are looking for?
So, in terms of the validation and attribution, I would say our platform goes as a separate line item. Like we work very closely with Rivet also. One can easily compare the BAU campaigns, which are regular non-data campaigns, versus a data campaign. Okay, we can easily see the uplifts in the efficiencies. As I earlier mentioned, we can see the efficiencies ranging from 10% to 30%. The marketers are able to give that attribution to us because they see it themselves. Okay, when they are using the relevant audiences from Audience Pro, they can see the uplifts in terms of various KPIs. It could be a branding campaign wherein the CTRs, there's a lift of let's say 30-40% there. It could be a performance campaign where they've seen a uplift in terms of average order value, ROAS getting higher. So it's there in real time, right? So the validation and the attribution is, for us, it's available, right?
Would you like to add to that, Ashok?
So I think there's a lot of evolvement is happening in the space of measurement, and walled gardens are in a way opening up. That there are platforms like ADH, which is Data Clean Room, which allows you to measure impact of your campaign that you do on multiple channels. But this is the other walled gardens which are not yet open. But you could still probably measure 70% of your overall digital marketing spend. And often we recommend to our brands that we work with, wherever there is a multimedia approach, use triple models. You have it's actually your multimedia mix modeling that you would want to understand how maybe when you leverage 60 different media, what has been the impact. And maybe over the course of a period, it needs let's say a certain amount of data, which probably about 24 segments that you need to have of time period. And you have ran different sort of channels and media that you are active with. And you get some causal impact from that. So you understand when I did these three combination of media activation, what was the impact on my sales product. So perhaps you are able to build some know-how. Because there will be a lot of variables. There could be competition who would have sort of back up their investment. There could be a different messaging that competition would have ran, or maybe compelling offer that brands have introduced. So we would want to consider all of that. So while there might not be one sort of holy grail set of measurement, but I think there are steps that brand can take and not rely on only one measurement. There has to be 2 or 3 measurement framework where you then calibrate your results with that.
Do the three of you agree with that? This multiple multimedia mix modeling, PM modeling. That's why it's called, and now I get why you're calling it.
I agree on the having multiple success metrics, and then of course having right attribution and success metrics. For us, told us very important because we have a market platform. It's not about are they converting, but it's told that sorry, market relevant. I think the next order journey, each order journey will have different success metrics, and then finally the only way is yes, when the consumer buys what's the attribution platform, and then we have can
that when you have agency folks and marketers, there is consensus. Guys, this
We were collaborative.
great. And any questions? We have just a minute or two left. If anybody has a question, yes, gentleman in the second row, a green jacket.
Hi panel, my question is for Payal. So for something like Agarbatti and talking about digital data, so what I specifically understand is for a long time, you also must have seen this trend that shopkeepers are the ones that hold the power on the Agarbatti and sales primarily, and which is why I think most of the sales would also be GP. And from there, bringing that credibility into digital, is that something that you think is going to get integrated in the future, or is it something that's in works, or how do you see that translating into digital? Because it is a very crucial part of such products.
Thank you so much for asking this question. It is a very important question, and trust me, like you said, no matter how much we want to boost about our performances online, there is still a major chunk of the business that's coming from retailers. So, in fact, since last year, what we started to do is when we are planning our campaigns, they are not just consumer campaigns, there are separate retail-led campaigns that we started running. And especially for our new launches which are targeted to certain markets where the awareness may not be as much. We have taken help from experts who could help us identify these segments, define them well, to ensure that when we better our awareness of that variant or whatever the product is amongst the retailers, then we see a significant shift. That's something that we have started investing in, and that's something that's going to be a part of our long-term strategy. For instance, another example, recently Mahakumbh is going on. It's one of the biggest events, especially for a Puja brand like ours, right? So there's a 360 campaign that's been running. We have created a 360-hour campaign. We created it from a consumer lens, where we said that, okay, if you couldn't go to Kumbh, why don't you come online and see Kumbh from your eyes through your phone? But just when we were deploying the campaign, we realized that there's a major group of our stakeholders that has been left out, which was the retailers again. So now we have launched a trade program where we are sending our salesmen to every outlet to educate them that this is an offering that Mangaldeep has, why don't you try it? Their sales is not the agenda. The agenda is engagement because they are the most important stakeholders for us.
Thank you for that question, and we are almost actually just out of time. But this was a wonderful chat. I think we've got a sense of how brands across categories seem to be using data and the measurement models that are available to kind of unlock that power of data. We couldn't get to speaking about AI, which I hope we would, but maybe some other day, some other panel discussion. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you.